I know, we're wrong. I know, we're wrong. Yeah.
Can you share a brief timeline of your life to date?
Moved a lot as a child, born in North Wales, moved to, and then 3 years later to Cheshire, lived there for a few years, then moved to Hertfordshire when Mum and Dad first started running pubs when I was 11, and then moved around a fair bit until we came here really, so we've been at the Red Lion the longest, so it's 15 years we've been here.
I was brought up in the country of Berkshire, having been out to Egypt 2 years old as a boy when my father was serving in the army after the war. And then I followed my father into the army and did a short service commission with the 1st Green Jackets in Borneo and laying ambushes twice in the front line against communist terrorists. And I've served in Singapore. And then I served in Berlin guarding the war criminals Hess von Scheer and Speer in Spandau prison. Then I finished my short service commission having earned the campaign medal for Borneo, joined Barclays Bank as a would-be local director on an undergraduate entry. But after 2.5 years I resigned, decided after going to vocational guidance that I should do creative work.
As you know, I had brain hemorrhage when I was, well, it was a month before my 30th birthday. So that was life-changing to a degree, but I don't really think I got the message until I was diagnosed bipolar, and then I really kind of realised that I had to change my whole life. And then like the last 5 years it's felt like a complete turnaround of my life. It's like that half of my life stopped and then this half of my life.
Well, I took art photography, taught myself, left the bank from on the undergraduate entry and entered publishing and then the hotel trade, and that's where I had my first breakdown in the kitchens in the hotel trade doing a management training. The pressure of the work on the management training got to me, and being a Christian and worrying about what role I should take on in life with my photography, with all the problems of drugs and pornography, and also the insecurity of it all, and also the criticisms from my family, who thought it was very unwise to leave the bank and go into an insecure world like art, which from my background is rather frowned on, though not nowadays. The Red Lion now with balloons on New Year's Eve, Richmond Park, Richmond Hill with the snow there, which is famous, and the Red Lion again with classic car parked outside, which got front cover in a motor magazine.
What has been the most unexpected thing in your life so far?
I would have said the brain hemorrhage. After it happened, Dad said it's a bit like a bomb went off in my brain, you know, and it was like I did suffer after that, the element of like something can just happen, you know, out of the blue, an accident or an illness or something like that. But I think now, having Rudy would be the most surprising thing. When I fell pregnant, I'd only just been diagnosed bipolar sort of 5 months before, so it was worrying that I was pregnant so soon after a diagnosis of something like that, because obviously I was taking new medication, didn't know how I was going to react to it, and you know, to have a baby come in amongst all that was kind of a bit shocking.
But then I came off my medication because I was badly advised, because I was on it for my schizophrenia, which I'd had as a breakdown in the Royal Waterloo Hospital, and I had a section in St Bernard's Hospital in Ealing which was a psychiatric hospital, was very austere and grim and frightening. And I experienced a fit while I was there and escaped to the countryside, did a marathon walk to try and find my parents who lived in Berkshire near Reading. I walked from Ealing to Reading at night, 40 miles, and I thought I was out of my mind, and I thought they'd been killed by communist terrorists. And of course, I phoned my mother on the way. She answered the phone, so I must have been out of my mind because she was still alive. I still thought she was dead. And I arrived there, and I was taken back and recovered eventually on medication.
Do you think any events in your life have affected anyone around you?
Oh God, yeah, loads. That's partly like, I think, being bipolar is the effect you have on other people constantly, you know. Until your behaviour is affecting someone else, it's not really a problem. And I think my behaviour affected people around me immensely.
I've been greatly blessed in the end in my photography and writing, and that's in spite of mental health problems. So we've done very well, and so I've been greatly blessed by God.
Do you think your early life has influenced how you live now?
I mean, the thing is, like, you know, people always say, would you change? Would you have done something different? Would you have not done this? Would you have not done that? But there's loads and loads of things I regret, and things that haunt me and I feel guilty about, and things that I think I'm ashamed of. And I do carry that around. I have, you know, I speak to my therapist weekly about that, and she's very much trying to I'm trying to leave all that behind and move on. She's trying to kind of integrate it so that it becomes one person, because that is still me. You know, you can't just sort of say...
You can't detach yourself
You
from it.
can't, and I think I try to. So, yeah, it's difficult, but also I wouldn't be the person I am now had I not done all those crazy things and had experiences and learnt. And I'd like to use that to help other people at some point.
I've done exhibitions. I've had 4 at the Red Lion Ealing. I published a book. I published that in 2011. Faith and Photography was published in 2015, a follow-up. And it's self-published, and it sold over 100 copies, and I didn't expect to. And this second book has 6 copies in all the libraries, so I'm an official author. Then a film was made. That was the extraordinary thing of the book. That's my grandmother and grandfather on my father's side, my adopted grandmother, grandfather. And that's me at Mons and at Shrewsbury. That's at Mons Officer Cadet School. And that's the photographs I took in the longhouse of the natives in Borneo.
Is there anything you would like to or wish could happen in the future?
Of course, all the usual things that mums hope, but I'm very optimistic, and I just feel like the right things will happen now.
Well, I tell you at first, Sophie, when I was ill, people were very negative, and when I experienced a section in St Bernard's Hospital, though the psychiatric nurses tried to give me support, they said, don't be too hopeful about your prospects in photography. It may end up with all with nothing. I mean, I do believe a lot of times you reap what you sow. People have been humble, and I've been humbled by people's kindness to me.
So what is it that you like so much about this pub?
About Red Lion? I suppose the main thing about the Red Lion is it's the longest place that I've called home. You know, as a family, we've never lived anywhere this long. So in terms of that, it's just home, and it's a catalyst for so many memories. And yeah,
If you've definitely put the stamp on the place with the the only pub on the road that just is.
It is, and it's just like it's a base. It's a base for everybody as well, not just me. It's a base for like the staff. It's a base for our regulars.
Do you like the culture that comes and the history that comes with this pub?
Well, I do, yes. I mean, the history of the BBC is fascinating, yes it is. And indeed, I've seen great films here. I saw Psycho by Hitchcock. Who cannot like that? And I saw The Man in the White Suit with Alec Guinness.
What do you think about the photographs on the walls in the Ealing Studios, like connection?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what gives this pub its kind of grounding. You know, that's its like connection. The pictures we're very sentimental about. I mean,
obviously there's a lot of photography all over this.
I like the photographs around the wall of people like Deborah Carr and Frankie Howard and people like that.
I think once you start making the right choices in life, the right things start to happen. And if you think like that, I think you attract the right things.
My illness and disability was also my talent. And that is the interesting thing. And that's a lot.